Good evening and happy Friday. Happy Trident Blue Day. This is Rooftop Sports, and here I am on game number. Let's check how many games I've done so far. I am now at game number 9. 9 out of 14 baseball games, which means the magic number is now 91 until that big goal of 100 is to be complete. Well, we've got a doozy of a matchup today. We've got Jacob deGrom of the Texas Rangers. He is off to a good start. Going up against, who do we got? We got Bryce Miller, who is not off to a good start, though. He is 0-2, 8 strikeouts to 5 walks, and he's given up a home run, 13 hits, so he's got to do better than what he normally does. Howdy, y'all. Howdy, Christian Chicago boy. How are you doing today? Yeah, I was actually trying to go to the doctor today because I wasn't feeling too hot. And then the wait time was just too long, and I was like, nope, I'm just going to tough it out again. So maybe I'll go tomorrow. Hopefully it won't be too serious. Hopefully they can just say it was just a cold and nothing more than that. So I guess we will see. And let's look at injury report for the Mariners, because we have just heard of terrifying news that Ryan Bliss is going to be out 4 to 6 months, which is not good, because that makes our infielding depth a lot thinner. And it's not like there's anyone better, because that means Leo Rivas will be taking his spot, and he hasn't really done much for the Mariners yet. And for third base, we're going to have Miles Mastrobuoni. Yeah, not feeling good about that. And then Rowdy Tellez, as if it just gets worse. Look at that middle of the lineup. It just looks horrible. Troy Taylor, it says that he should be back anytime soon. Trevor Gott, he's not even that good. Taylor Dollard, not that good. Matt Brash, they're saying May 2nd. George Kirby, May 2nd. When we need him here badly. And I mean here badly. Now, before I tell you about who the starting lineups is for the Mariners, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification, and donate to this channel, as we are making, as always, the goal of this channel of this game today is going to be $50. The most I've gotten is $20 this season, and that was largely contributed by one of my members. His name is William Cook. So I do really appreciate it. Now, the starting lineup for the Mariners. We got Julio Rodriguez, Jorge Polanco, Cal Raleigh, Randy Arozarena, Luke Raley, Rowdy Tellez, 1 for 20, by the way, Miles Mastrobuoni, Leo Rivas, and J.P. Crawford. Very still underwhelming lineup. So much is going to have to happen. Everyone's going to have to step up. I mean, it gets bad when Julio Rodriguez is your leadoff hitter. That's when it gets really, really bad. And as for the Texas Rangers, we've got Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Josh Smith. Yeah. Got Josh Smith, Adolis Garcia, Jock Peterson, Josh Young, Jake Berger, Jonah Heim, and Leody Taveras. Lineup's a little bit better, but can't be worse than the Mariners, especially when you have Adolis Garcia on the team. And looks like we got all the Mariners are going out to the field, and this first pitch is going to be brought to you by SeatGeek. I'm supposed to be potentially joined by Steve Silver. Not sure if he'll make it. I think he'll be more likely to make it to the Sunday game, to be honest with you. Other exciting news around the minor leagues. Jurangelo Saincha is actually now in the baseball top 100, the switch-handed pitcher. And Daniel Barry, thank you very much for being a member. And Christian, I consider you to be a member, or maybe contribute to the channel. No pressure. But the number one priority is getting the engagement out of everyone. Hold on. Good evening, sir.
What's up?
Did you lose a bet on why? Is that why you're wearing a Huskies
No, I'm wearing it because I'm cold. I'm really
So it's nothing more than just clothes.
correct.
Well, that's good. At least they're now your useful idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I'm
aren't you
tired.
excited about this lineup? I mean, yeah, the lineup's going to make you feel even more tired. Julio's leading off.
Are you talking
Jorge Polanco,
Julio Polanco?
Polanco
Holly,
DH.
Randy, yeah.
The
Rosarina,
poser.
Rayleigh, Tellez, Master Boney at third, Rivas at second, Leo Rivas, huh?
Because Ryan Bliss is
Wow.
out 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow. So it's a doozy, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be a doozy. If you're a Jacob deGrom fantasy baseball owner, congratulations. You're going to get like 10 strikeouts today.
Maybe.
Now here's Marcus Semien up to the plate. And again, first pitch is brought to you by Washington Huskies making Steve warm. I already said SeatGeek, so might as well drop something else. And that first pitch, here it is by Bryce Miller. And that is low for a ball. We are underway. Mariners sporting in their Trident blues and their black pants. Texas Rangers in their gray and blue. I really miss the Mariners gray. I really, really do. And now we are going into the next pitch by Bryce Miller, and here it is. Now here's a ground ball foul. At least you can say there's a strike, but that was a pretty hard hit. That was hard hitting foul. Camera pointing out to Bruce Bochy, another manager the Mariners could have hired rather than having the Scott Service or Dan Wilson. And now the 1-1 by Bryce Miller, and that is outside for a ball. 2-1. 2-1 to count.
2-1.
Marcus Semien batting 122, not off to a good start, but sadly, we'll take a 122 hitter at this point. And now the 2-1 pitch. Now here's a ground ball right to third base. Mastroboni, the throw to first, and that is in time. Good play by Mastroboni. I guess there's one thing he's useful. At least he can play defense, because who can play a worse defense than Jorge Polanco?
I'm just telling you, man. You know, with a guy like Mastroboni, man, you know he's good with his hands.
Oh!
No, I mean Miles Mastroboni. Love him.
The joke.
Great with his hands.
Here's Corey Seager, the brother of Kyle Seager. And now the pitch. He may be batting 220s, but he's made it up with 3 home runs, 3 RBIs, and still bats a 712 OPS. Another number the Mariners could use.
Is it me, or these City Connects I still have not been warmed up to these.
I think it's a curse, the pitch. Because anything with Trident, Mariners don't do well with it. Christian says, why do you hate Scott Service so much? I mean, bad decisions. And Dan Wilson's basically stole his playbook. And now we're at 2-0. And now the pitch.
Could it be
3-0?
Could it be that we just don't have talented players? Could it very well just be that when you buy cheap, you get cheap results? I mean, I'm just saying, like, we can blame the manager all we want, but eventually we're going to have to actually question whether these players are talented.
3-1, yeah. Yeah, when I work at this childcare job, a lot of there's some kids that are Mariner fans, and I use them as an example. Like, when kids make excuses, I'm like, you know what team that makes excuses? The Seattle Mariners. They blame their own stadium for their offensive futilities, and they actually laugh.
Yeah.
And the 3-1, that's a foul ball.
To me, it's just funny to me.
Yeah, they're trying to play victim by their own stadium.
Yeah, I just find it kind of funny. But since the last time
3-2,
I saw this baseball team
and ball 4 take your base.
How has it been? I know that they had the Astros for 3.
Yep, 2 of 3.
And it looks like they did well against the Astros. So that was nice after coming off the heels of being swept by the Giants. So
it was nice to get a series, but now in hindsight, they should have swept them because of the extra innings. They had their chance.
It's the Mariners, though. What do you expect?
And a swing and a miss. I expected that from Bryce Miller. For Josh Smith, he's batting .308 with a home run and 2 RBIs. Texas Rangers continue to keep producing bats like no other. Oh, Christian, I wish I can believe you. 0-1 for Josh Smith.
Really good this year.
The pitch. And here's a butt,
hot.
And that is a beauty. Here is Mastroboni throw to first, and that is not in time, but it was a great effort by Mastroboni. And now we've got runners on first and second.
Great hands.
And also, it's really bad when you have Rowdy Tellez as your first baseman. At that point, it's like
there is a good chance that this team could get hot and go on an extended run, sure. But that being said, it's like look at the way this team was constructed, and I just tell me how this team is going to be able to average 5 runs a game to give their pitching an opportunity to be dominant. I don't necessarily see it, but to each his own, I guess.
Just keep pitching Luis F. Castillo, and the Mariners' offense will wake up. And Adolis Garcia takes it for a strike. Steve Martinez, never seen Martinez.
Seve
Martinez. Seve Martinez.
How is it that I can pronounce Latin American names, and yet you're so horrible pronouncing Latin American names?
I can speak Spanish better than you. So watch.
I'm sure you can.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Me llamo José. ¿Y tú?
Me llamo Esteban.
Mucho gusto. 0-2 for Adolis Garcia.
Buenas noches. Bruh, Julio Rodriguez is a stud. Bruh.
And the pitch.
Did you just bruh me, Christian?
He's a stud when he wants to be. But he's too focused on his posingness, because he's just as much as a poser as Randy Arozarena. And Randy Arozarena is the poser.
I'll just say this, right? Like, Julio Rodriguez can easily be
0-2.
An upper echelon player.
Low for a ball.
Dude, he's young and he's rich, man. What do you expect? The dude is inconsistent at best.
I don't even think Bobby Witt has even gotten a contract extension yet. I think he's still in his rookies.
No, I think Bobby Witt Jr. got a massive extension from the Royals.
Oh, did he? Well, yeah, Royals spend more than the Mariners do. That's clear. 1-2 to Garcia. Check swing. Did he go? Oh, the umpire and Cal Raleigh were expecting a strike 3 out of Adolis Garcia. Adolis Garcia, the hero of the... that almost looks... I wonder if you can review check swings. I don't think you can, but that looked like he went through. But umpire thinks otherwise. The 2-2 for Adolis Garcia, the pitch. And that is a foul ball. And Miller is already at 18 pitches, already having an inefficient start.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I'll say this. Yeah, he's approaching 20 pitches, but, 2 on, 1 out. Yeah, okay. I think you're right. I thought I was looking at 2 outs.
End it with a double play.
I was like looking at the mid on base, and I was like, wait a second, he's got 2 outs.
Ball, and looks like Bryce Miller struggling on his command early on.
A little bit.
Bryce Miller, how many strikes does he have? He has 8 strikes. No, 10 strikes and 8 balls. And that's not a good split. As we're at full count 3-2. And now the pitch. And now here's popped up. He got him jammed up. Julio is there. And he makes the catch. And is someone tagging at second? No one's tagging. So good heads up by Julio paying attention.
So there you go. 2 outs there.
2 outs. Mariners have got to win this series. I mean, it's good on my end. So your game?
Yeah, my stream is lagging. Oh, well.
Hey, it's only $20.
It's buffering, man. That's all.
You just need a new router.
I just need a new phone.
Aye. And now it's Jock Peterson. He's batting .094 the pitch. Up high for a ball.
I don't want to.
1-0 for Jock Peterson.
Jock.
Nightbot really wants Nightbot's on the work.
Dude, I got a lot of respect for the Nightbot, man.
1-0.
Nightbot, He's just working OT.
OT nonstop because I can't do that. As we're looking at 1-1. And Nightbot's doing it for totally free.
The Nightbot.
How long until Nightbot becomes self-aware and goes, "You better pay me or you will be terminated"? The 1-1. Low for a ball, and that's going to be a 2-1. Camera showing to Cal Raleigh.
I wonder if Nightbot's got a chick.
Who knows? Maybe the chick from Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah, maybe.
Took John Connor away.
As
we're looking at 2-1. The 2-1. And that is outside for a ball. 3-1 to count.
Let's see if restarting my phone will stop the lag on my stream.
Hopefully. 3-1 for Peterson. And now the pitch. And that is ball 4, take your base. And now we got the bases loaded with 2 outs. And next batter is going to be Josh Young.
Yes, we know, Christian. If the offense is just average, that's the problem. It's, getting to that level of mediocrity just to give the pitching staff a little bit of breathing room. Yeah, that's been the problem.
It's getting to the point where we're trying to say, even if we're below average, we're not even below average. Like, we're already worse than 2024 by far. And that was brutal to watch. I mean, I was in 62 of these things, and most of them were torture. Some are thinking how I even was willing to handle that. Here's Josh Young, batting .467. Has a chance to do some serious damage. And now the pitch. And that's going to be in there for a strike. Bryce Miller working on a jam, already on 25 pitches. And if he keeps this up on this pace, it'll be a bullpen day. Unless he settles down after this. Mariners are already calling full noise, but it's only strike 1. And now we're at 0-1. And now the pitch. Swing and a miss, and that's strike 2 for Josh Young. Or is it Josh Jung?
Josh Young.
In Korean, it'd be Jung.
So I got it. Right now, I'm on Jock Peterson's at bat.
Now we're at 0-2 for Josh Young. He's 3 for 5 against Bryce Miller with a home run, so probabilities are pretty high for him to do some damage, but he's on 2 strikes, and he's just got to get this guy out. And now the 0-2 pitch. And now here's a ground ball foul. That looks really promising for Josh Young to get those runs in. That would have been at least 2 runs in for sure, had that gone fair. 28 pitches for Miller now. Oh and 2 for Bryce Miller. And the 0-2 pitch. And that is outside for a ball. I think he was trying to get him to be fooled and swing away from that. Still 1-2 on Josh Young. Like, this game is going so bad that it's making me want to stream the Everett Aqua Sox game. Now 1-2. And that's going to be popped up. And that should be playable. Could be some trouble. We have some communication problems. And they make the catch. They made the catch, and the inning is going to be over. Whoever caught it, well, good job. I think it was Leo Rivas. And that will retire the side. We're seeing who it was. Yeah, there was total lack of communication on that. There was no one was really saying, I got it. So communication's pretty bad. That could have gone either way. But Mariners get away with it. And now it's time for some commercial freaking break. We got an extra large pizza for delivery. while he makes that pizza. What's up, baseball fans and pizza lovers? In celebration of the start of the baseball season, we've got a home run of a deal for you. We're offering 50% off all menu items on Mondays and Tuesdays and 25% off bowling. Don't strike out on this amazing deal. Check out our menu in the description of this video and start ordering now. Delivery is also welcome. This offer goes through April. Yeah, only on Monday and Tuesdays, though. Oh, Christian, here's a question for you. I'd rather have you answer this. You answer this way better than I do.
What do you think the issue is with the M's offense? Not enough contact, not enough consistency, not enough ability to hit the fastball.
Right down the middle.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's the thing. It's this offense seems to be feast and famine. A lot of guys that want to try to swing for the fences instead of just making good contact. There's a plethora of issues with this offense. We don't necessarily have a leadoff hitter.
And we are back from the break. And now here's Julio Rodriguez. And that's just going to be outside for a ball.
Julio
Rodriguez, the one who's really got to get it going. And the pitch. And now here's a fly ball popped up to second base, Marcus Semien. No, Adolis Garcia's got it, and he makes the catch. And it's already 1 out.
Well, yeah, so I found a different stream, and it's lagging.
Jacob deGrom, the pitcher. He's never won 100 games in his career. Didn't even know about that. And now the pitch. And that is going to be a curveball for a strike for Jorge Polanco. Polanco's off to a good start, batting .370, but he has cooled off a bit. The pitch. And that is outside for a ball. He actually has been he actually is the leader in RBIs for the team. So he's off to a surprising start, but how long can it last? And now the 1-1 pitch. And now here's a fly ball to deep right field. Is that fair? That is gone. That is a solo home run for Jorge Polanco. Mariners get on the board to make it 1-0. And that is Polanco's 3rd home run of the season. And I changed my mind. He is actually on fire. And what
just like that
was. Just like that.
You all of a sudden you change your mind.
He just had to do that. He shut me up for a moment.
I guess Jerry was right. He's looking good.
On that videotape, right? And now, Mariners are up 1-0. It's a good way to get something going. And now the pitch to Cal Raleigh. That is inside for a ball. Let's see if the Mariners can get this going. And Jorge Polanco pokes that Triton right in your face.
You know what's interesting is like when you look at the sequence of pitches to Jorge Polanco. You know, the first one was down and in. Second pitch kind of was a waste right there, down and away. And then, you know, the
2-0 pitch. And that is, did he go for it? And it does.
The mistake right there was fastball in just a little high, and Polanco just swings on it, gets the bat head out early and just crushes that pitch.
I wonder if he has a torpedo bat. Maybe that could be the effect.
No torpedo bats.
No, they just got it. Now the pitch to Cal Raleigh, and a swing and a miss, strike 2.
But, you know, nice way to get off to a good start here.
Needed it badly because they need a series win out of this Texas Rangers team. The pitch, and that's going to be popped up. And is that going anywhere? That is fouled.
I really don't like the Trident.
I don't either. I just liked high fives.
No, I just think it's goofy.
It's too flashy.
Well, like, you know, it's like it's supposed to be the thing that kind of brings the team together.
It really
But it's
doesn't. The
like
2-2.
it seems so forced and fake.
Oh, Randy Arozarena, he's at third base, or he's heading home. He's like this. He does that arm crossing. It's like, but the Mariners are losing, or they just tied the game. Now at full count 3-2 for Cal Raleigh, the pitch. And that's strike 3. And Cal Raleigh's having a conversation with the umpire, but it was clearly in the strike zone. And why didn't you swing at that? That was like your pitch right there. And now they're showing Polanco's pitch. Shall I say
fastball up and in, and Polanco just torched that pitch.
He really did. And that was blasted. And now it's Randy Arozarena, the pitch. And that was right down the middle for a strike. Like, how do you not swing at that? It was a 98. That could have been your chance to do your poser thing. Randy Arozarena batting 191. And now the pitch. And that is in there for a strike. Again, that's going to be an 0-2. Hasn't even took a swing yet.
Yeah, Cal Raleigh's at-bat was terrible.
0-2. And that is going to be low for a ball. He didn't swing at it this time. Still going to be 1-2. Career versus Jacob deGrom. He is 0-4.
Championship.
And now the 1-2 pitch. And that's going to be popped up, and that's not going to get anywhere going. And that is going to be Josh Young who makes the catch, and that will retire the side. But
the damage has been done.
Damage has been done with a 1-0 lead for the Mariners. And we'll be back after this timeout. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code RoofTopSports to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. $20 if you want to save them.
$20 make you holla. Use that promotional code RoofTopSports. Get you $20 off. Because Mariners charge an arm and a leg to watch a crappy product.
Yeah, and I gotta take my friend to a baseball game for his birthday, and I'm trying to get the tickets for free. That's exactly how I...
That's funny. I'm trying to get the tickets for free. Yeah. So, by the way, over-under. Over-under. We're going to play a game of over-under. Now that Polanco has put the Mariners ahead by 1, what's the over-under tonight with the Mariners offense? So I'm going to set it at 3. Over or under 3?
Under 3 because it's Jacob deGrom.
Okay. Oh, under 3. So for the next 5 innings, you think that the Mariners are going to score top 2, but mostly they're probably just going to be stuck at 1.
Yeah.
All right. Just curious. Yeah, I agree.
I'm trying to get the streaming going for the Aqua Sox game because, I mean, the offense there can't be any less exciting than the Mariners offense. Yeah, we saw a home run, but it's like, woo.
Yeah, Christian is taking the over.
Whoa.
You know what? I actually appreciate Christian because this dude is like a happy clapping Mariner fan, which I appreciate. You haven't been beaten down. You haven't been beaten down by 50 years of mediocre Seattle Mariners baseball. You have not weathered the storm, sir. Nope. So I do appreciate it, and I like your enthusiasm. But follow this team for 5 years, and you will not believe in God. Put it that way.
You won't, as we are at 0-1, and now the pitch, and that is outside for a ball.
Yeah, like it's funny. I remember being 15 years old, and I remember when the Mariners were good. And it's like,
I remember when I was 9 years old.
And I remember being that naive kid thinking like it's only going to get better, right? So
I was told that too.
Yeah, and then now I'm approaching 45, and I just watched this team after decade progressively get worse. And you're
Very
just kind of like,
much.
and I'm just kind of like, nah, it is what it is.
We're at 1-2, and I finally got the Aqua Sox game on.
This game is going to be easy. Seattle will go 14-0 against the Rangers this season. Yeah, I absolutely
1-2.
I absolutely hate the Rangers, so I would love to see it. But
Do you hate the Rangers more than the Astros?
uh,
Do you hate them more than the A's and the Angels?
my hierarchy for hate in this division is as follows. Okay, and I'll start at number 4. The least hate to the most hate. Number 4, the Oakland A's, or excuse me, the Sacramento A's, the Athletics as we call them. They're the team that I hate the least. As a matter of fact, when I'm not watching Mariner baseball, if I'm watching other Major League AL teams, I'm usually watching
3-2.
Cleveland or Oakland.
3-2.
Then it goes the Houston Astros. Then it goes the Texas Rangers, and then it goes the Angels. I absolutely hate the Angels the most.
And strike 3 called. Do you hate the Angels the most?
Well, without a doubt. Without a doubt, I absolutely hate the Angels, and I've hated the Angels since I was a kid.
Okay, let me guess why. And you can say yes or no. The random 2002 World Series run. That shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, no, I hated the Angels for that too. But no, I'll tell you exactly why. So
Jonah Heim's up to the plate, by the way. The pitch. And that is a strike. Maybe save it for the commercial break. It sounds like a long one.
No, it's really not. I just remember being as a kid, and I really hated the goofy A with a halo around it. You know what I mean? And then they went to the California Angels, and then they had the C with the goofy A with the halo around it. I always thought they're
ugly.
I absolutely hated Wally Joyner as a kid. And Tim Salmon pissed me off for no other reason.
Oh, I hated his batting stance made it even more easy to hate.
Tony Phillips was easy to hate.
Garrett Anderson?
Yeah, I didn't like Garrett Anderson. I didn't even like
Darren Erstad.
Yeah, Scott Spezio.
Oh, Scott Spezio, don't even mention. 2-1. And that's going to be popped up on his knees.
Jared Washburn.
And that's going to go to JP
I hated when Kevin Apier was an Angel.
How about Troy Percival?
Yeah, Troy Percival. But I'm trying to think. It was. I think Wally Backman might have played for him for a little bit. I hated. Who was the guy that I did not like? Oh yeah, Jim Abbott pitched for the Angels too, and I liked Abbott. And I liked Abbott when he was I liked him when he was a Yankee, not as an Angel.
The pitch, and that's an swing and a miss. Oh, who was the pitch?
But it was also Mark Langston ended up with the Angels,
but we kicked his ass.
Yeah, but still though, it was. You don't that's the thing. Former
swing and a miss, strike 2.
Former Mariners should never end up with the Angels. Dodgers,
and former Angels should not end up with the Mariners.
That's exactly right.
Like Jerry Dipoto, former Angel.
We had a lot of them. Sean
Jerry Dipoto, Scott Spezio, Scott Service,
Jared Washburn,
Kendrys
Morales. Jesus. Yeah, Jerry Dipoto.
Oh, and we just got out of this inning, so that's going to go into the bottom of the second. Let me name some other. Do you hate Mike Trout?
That's a good question. It's a good question. No, I don't. Here's the thing. Mike Trout to me is like Shaquille O'Neal. I was always the Shaq fan, even when he was with the Lakers. I still wanted Shaq to do well while the Lakers lose. Didn't really happen a lot, but I still respected Shaq. It's the same thing. Like I would like to see Mike Trout do well. Just not the Angels. The best part was when Junior and Senior went back to back against the Angels. That was epic. I like that.
Luis Sojo, his everybody's score was against the Angels. Dan Wilson's first grand slam was against Jim Abbott of the Angels.
Fireside Kanahito Irian Hope Zinowski says, "I have that's a name to pronounce right there. I I have Rangers toll pass and Globe Life field level season tickets behind home plate. Cool. Did you guys know that you guys employed a drug addict, like a raging coke addict, there for a couple of years in the early 2010s? Just saying.
Josh freaking Hamilton.
Hamilton.
You know, let me go over the teams if I hate. The A's, I don't hate them. I think A's are cool. Astros, I would hate them, but they help my YouTube channel, so I can't. And I have a lot of friends that are Astro fans.
Yeah.
So I just can't. The Rangers I don't hate because I like Dallas. Even though they are annoying. But it's the Rangers. And their stadium is really cool.
I like the city of Dallas. I just don't like their teams.
And here's Luke Raley up to the plate, the pitch. And that is in there for a strike. And then what's the other team of the West?
The Angels.
You know, I don't like the Angels. I just don't. I can't like them. There's no reason to. The pitch. I've never
tried I have never tried liking the Angels. They want to be Los Angeles so bad, and they'll never be.
They're better.
Anaheim will never be LA. They can change it to the Los Angeles Angels of Disneyland, and it wouldn't matter. They're not an LA team. They're an Anaheim team. They're fake.
There is a fly ball and foul.
Plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fake and they're plastic.
Everett Aqua Sox just scored.
Nice. Minute Maid is better. No, it's not.
No, I think the best stadium is the Texas Rangers Stadium.
I will say that I'm curious to see what the new stadium in Las Vegas is going to look like when it's fully complete. I'll reserve judgment on the best stadium in the West.
Then let's do stadium debate. And now here's a ground ball right to first base, toss over to first in time. Let's do a stadium debate.
But I like the fact that the A's are playing in a AAA park. That I can get behind. I can get behind it.
It's getting so much hate, and I think most of it is just saying F John Fisher. If John Fisher wasn't the owner, it'd get a lot better reputation for the situation.
So Minute Maid has more personality than Globe Life with the train alone. I think you're just looking at it through Astros colored glasses there, Josh. I think you just love everything about the Houston
Rowdy
Astros.
Tellez.
And that's fine. That's fine.
Josh is an Astro fan. He was on my show on Tuesday.
That's fine, man. And I'm good with it. All of that's good. But, you can't, there's a bias there. There's an inherent bias. Like, I still think the Kingdom is better than Safeco or T-Mobile Park.
Yes.
Even though the concourses smelled like piss. They really did. They smelled like piss. And it was a concrete hell. I still think the Kingdom is better because it had better personality.
Oh, fly ball to deep right field, and that is gone. Rowdy Tellez gets on the board with a home run. His first home run of the season. Fireworks going off, and the Mariners now lead it 2-0. I had to distract you on that because Rowdy Tellez hit a freaking home run. Sorry.
Excited much?
Too excited. And plus, I saw fans on the stands. They were like laughing more than cheering.
Yeah, no, but the Kingdom was a hellhole, but it had better personality. Like, T-Mobile Park has no personality at all. You know what I mean? Like, it is just there as a revenue stream. It's like a functioning arm of the baseball team with no personality. At least the Kingdom, when it got loud, man, it
was loud. And when I was a kid, I remember that.
It shook.
It was great for Seahawks games too.
And a lot of the biggest reason is like when I was growing up, I grew up during the 90s, so there's a lot of winning in the Kingdom from a Mariners standpoint. But outside of like the early 2000s, there hasn't been
ground ball right to first base, and that it will be out. Miles Mastroboni gets out, and that's going to be 2 outs. Are the torpedo bats helping the Mariners, or are
they using them?
Maybe. I think no. It doesn't look like it.
Are they? Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like they're using torpedo bats, but yeah,
whatever's happening today is working, and they're doing it off of Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, so I'm a little biased when it comes to that as well too. But that being said, I can appreciate T-Mobile a little bit, but that being said, I just think it's for yuppies, man. Like the Kingdom was like blue collar, Boeing machinists. You know what I mean? Like South King
If
County,
only
like
they just
Budweiser.
didn't. If only they just didn't build it so cheap.
South King County Budweiser drinkers. You know what I mean? Like that was the Kingdom, man. That was great. Where maybe you had three too many beers while you were taking a
Oh,
piss
two,
on Gaze, taking a piss on Jose Canseco.
1 and 2. Yeah, I wish one day they'll have this VR technology where you can actually walk through the entire kingdom and you can actually watch a retrospective game. I think MLB will try that and should do that. The pitch, I don't think they'll try that, but I think they should, where you can
Oh, Rowdy,
reminisce.
there's the Rowdy Tellez home run. And goddamn, that was a fastball chest high. Rowdy takes it out. Wow, Rowdy Tellez being rowdy. Look at
He
the look
did
at the
rowdy. The
Indians
pitch.
all over the Royals tonight.
Aye. And now we're
Cincinnati
at
beating
3-2
Pittsburgh.
for Leo Ribas. I think Las
Who's
Montez is
A
up
and
to the
I?
plate.
Oh no, LA crap. Anaheim. It's A and A, not A and I. That's all right though, Josh. All other
And the
games are
3-2.
0-0. Watching Polo
And
Grounds games or their
ball four,
Astrodome
take your base.
I
Las
remember
Mon
watching. I remember watching Randy Johnson pitch his first game at the Astrodome after the trade, and that dude was awesome. But by the way, that Astros team, I think it was the '98 Stros.
It
That was actually a pretty good Astros team.
Jeff Bagwell,
Craig Biggio is. I think Josh Bell was on that team too. I think it was
possibly, yeah.
he was a part of the Killer Bees. Josh would know.
And that is up high for a ball for J.P. Crawford. As Ty Pete looks like he just got hit by pitch for the Aqua Sox as I'm panning over to that, and he will take his base. And now J.P. Crawford's looking at 1-0.
Ty Pete.
No, he's still batting the pitch. And that is going to be 2-0.
I heard the Astrodome is used now for like high school football.
High school football and disaster shelter.
Yeah, like the state Texas football tournament. Like some
Dude,
of
that's
them
gotta
play
be that's legit. That's actually pretty cool. They're using a major league stadium for high school. That's pretty cool. And that's a foul ball.
I remember watching Oiler games in the old Astrodome, and I thought it was. I always thought that was a good home field advantage for an NFL team.
And I thought Tacoma Dome was cool for high school football games, but nope, Astrodome tops that.
Dude, I remember when the Sonics played in the Tacoma Dome. That was
How was that?
That was odd. It was awesome for me because the Sonics were 10 minutes away from my house, so that was awesome. But it was weird watching the Sonics play in the Tacoma Dome because I don't know if you've ever been like those seats. It was hard. It was hard to configure those seats for the NBA, so it looked weird. But that being said, it got loud in there for Sonics games,
and it was 3-1.
It was about as loud as it was in the old Coliseum. It was actually not a bad home field advantage.
Oh, sadly, they can't use the Astrodome as it failed fire codes. Ooh.
Tear it down, baby. Then tear it down.
So it's just a historical landmark, basically.
Yeah, but what's interesting is if it's not being used, it's just
the pitch. That is up high for ball 4. Now we got 2 men on base for Julio Rodriguez. And looks like we got pitching coach coming out as Jacob deGrom is not looking good. And on commercial break, I'm going to show once I show a very quick clip of my reaction to Dom Canzone's strikeout along with Josh, because he is on the chat. Then we'll talk about stadium debates.
All right.
There's Angel Stadium, Sacramento Stadium. Well, actually, let's do the Coliseum because that's
No, because they don't play in the Coliseum anymore.
Hey, putting the old stadium aside, I actually did like the Coliseum. Put everything aside, all the politics of it.
Prior to the Raiders returning in 95, the Oakland Coliseum used to be a very, very good stadium.
You could see mountains. I saw the pictures. I was like, oh, man. Jealous of you 80s, early 90s kids.
They're debating what to use it for, though tear it down is nowhere on the map. It's cheaper to renovate. Okay.
The pitch. Swing and a miss, strike one. Yeah, why else did it take so long for the Detroit to tear down the Pontiac? And they actually tried to tear it down, and it failed.
Yeah, the Pontiac Silverdome, although it is now officially torn down. Same with the Palace at Auburn Hills, and now the Pontiac or Lions Way
swing
Pontiac.
and a miss, strike two.
It's now an Amazon center. It's a distribution center there.
0-2 for Julio Rodriguez. He's already blowing this.
I don't know about that, man.
I don't think so.
Eventually, they're going to need a new stadium in Oakland.
0-2. And that's going to be a foul back. No, I don't think Mount Davis was the reason. Because the stadium was still going to fall apart either way. Now we're at 0-2 for Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, they've needed a new stadium in Oakland, like
Day one.
In the 1980s.
Oh, swing and a miss, strike three. And that's going to retire the side. But Rowdy Tellez helps the Mariners add to that lead. And now I got to show you that Dom Can zone strikeout on my reaction. It actually made me choke. You'll see why. The 0-2 pitch.
You gotta love these guys.
I mean, he literally just swing. He literally check swinged
None
at
of
the
those
dirt.
were in the strike zone.
It wasn't even in the strike zone, and he chuck swinged it. Like, why?
Like, literally, that wasn't Taylor Scott being good. That was just
really
you just
bad.
swinging at crap.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
bad. I was laughing that much that I was literally choking. That's how bad the strikeout was.
Yeah, the state championships are held at AT&T. Oh, fair enough.
That's even better. Oh,
Fair
now
enough.
the stadiums. How are we going to rank this? So, well, first let's say if we like them. The Angels Stadium, do you like them? I will first just say no. It's freaking ugly. It's still a football stadium with a tape job.
Well, no. That's not true. They actually renovated. There's no way they can play football at that stadium anymore. But it's still ugly. The rock formations in center field, the weird waterfall at the rocks, and then the bullpens in left field. It just looks dumb. Not a fan.
T-Mobile Park. I mean, without the biases, I can see it.
See, what I didn't like about it was the retractable roof. I didn't like the idea of the retractable roof because I
don't like rainouts.
See, so here's the thing, though. But I wanted to see the tarps. You know what I mean? Like during the rain delay, I wanted to see the tarps. You know what I mean? I thought that would have been great.
It happened in 2000 against the Rangers once.
But the reality is it's when it opened, it had that new stadium feel. But that's the thing. It's like with so many losing seasons, it's just lost its soul. And going to a Mariner game, not only is it expensive, but I don't know, man. It doesn't. Yeah,
the vibe. You don't feel baseball. It feels all techie geek vibe.
Well, yeah, no, that's exactly right. It doesn't feel like baseball. It feels like more of a hangout spot than anything else. It's like geeks. It's like a weird nightclub with a baseball game playing in the background.
And it's not exactly family friendly either. The 0-1. And now here's a fly ball to center field, and Julio is there, and he makes the catch. Say that kind of.
What about Minute Maid Park down in Houston?
I have to go there. I haven't been there, but I can still see why it's highly respected of a stadium.
See, I like from center field to the left field pole. That's what I like. I like the facade. The brick facade that they have there, and I like the crawfish boxes. And the train's kind of a cool little touch, but from center field to the right field pole, it's like any other stadium. But I do like how they used to have that hill in play and they got rid of it. I thought that was kind of interesting as well too. But the thing about that stadium is it really does play to pull hitters. It's like a pull hitter's paradise.
Swing and a miss, strike two to Corey Seager.
Like it's a cheap shot to the left field left field seats. It feels like if you're a right-handed power hitter, like you would love playing in Houston.
I hated the hill though. The big center field hill. I hated that. The 0-2.
See, I liked it though. I liked
and
it.
Here's a ground ball right to Les. Touch over the first, and that's 2 outs.
Because in order to navigate fly balls in Houston, you had to be aware of that hill, and it kind of got a few center fielders in its day. I kind of enjoyed it.
Okay, how about A Stadium? It's a minor league stadium, so you can't really say much, but I could see the baseball vibes out of it.
By the way, I love minor league parks. I like there has never been a minor league park that I've never liked, and that's the thing is because they're intimate, right? They only seat like maybe at the high end like 15,000 people. So on the high end, I just like it, man. I'll give you a good example, right? I drive by City Field in Lansing, which is home to the Lansing Lugnuts, every single day, and it's a cool because it's right in the middle of the heart of the town, right? And you drive right past it. You can kind of see in it from the right field side, and it's really super intimate with apartments over left field. It's really cool, and I like those feel of those intimate ballparks, and most minor league ballparks have that feel. So I'm 100% for it.
And let's wait till this. Hold on, the pitch, and that gets away. I can see the potential of Globe Life. When I saw it, I actually do like it, and maybe it's because I have a bias for Dallas, but I do like it. So
see, I don't, because looking from home plate out, I think it's very basic. I don't necessarily like the aesthetics from home plate to the outfield.
Now here's a line drive, and that is going to be caught by Randy Arozarena, and that's going to retire the side. An easy 1-2-3 inning.
What I
do
the Mariners is the behind home plate, that little bar that they have underneath there. You see it. There's like between the dugouts, so it looks like there's a bar, that's underneath where you could actually watch it from that from that vantage point. I think that's a pretty cool thing they did down there in Texas, but not a fan.
So number 5, we're gonna easily say it's the Angels Stadium easily.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, what would you say? It feels like the way we were talking, we're gonna say T-Mobile Park.
Life. No,
Globe Life is number 4. Number 3. T-Mobile. Number 2, Minute Maid.
And then the minor league park for the A's, 100%.
So that's why if someone asked me, would you rather go to a Mariners game or an Everett Aqua Sox game? Everett Aqua Sox, no question.
By the way, the old stadium of the Texas Rangers, the ballpark in Arlington, that's better than Globe Life. The aesthetics of the outfielder were far better.
In humid 100-degree heat? Humid.
I like the right field. I like the right field seats because I
like center field grass where you can run for and fight for the ball.
The decks in right field overhang, like it felt like they overhang right field, right? So you could always, like, left-handed hitters could always pop one to the upper deck in right field. Plus you had the grass space, so if there's a home run to the grass, you'd see people running onto the grass. Plus you had the aesthetic of center field, whatever those were, apartments or whatever, they're in center field. I just thought the ballpark at Arlington was just a far aesthetically far better stadium than Globe Life. By the way, I don't think they needed a new stadium. I didn't think they needed Globe Life. I didn't think there was anything wrong with the ballpark in Arlington.
Well, some would say otherwise. And now we are back from the break.
They just wanted a bright new shiny stadium. I get it.
Yeah, to please the new Texas, the people that please the new people that moved to Texas.
No, it's not that. It's just they wanted to make more money. That's why they do it. 1-0,
because why not?
No roof park sucked, but the stadium was great.
And now here's a ground ball, and that's going to be out.
I went there I was going to a game in the all-you-can-eat section. Damn. Everything's bigger in Texas, for sure.
I'm trying to get the Diamond Club seats for my friend's birthday for the Miami game, but not going to say how I'm going to do it.
Say it again?
I'm trying to get Diamond Club seats for Friday's game against Miami.
$250 each?
I think it's got to be $300 by now, don't you think, with the inflation? That's going to be popped up right to third base. Josh Young is there.
I've sat in Diamond Club 3 times, and all 3 times was awesome.
And don't you love the food?
Yeah, dude. All you so basically you get the buffet and you get drinks and like any other food you want with the price of the ticket. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Do you know what's the most ripoff? Terrace Club, I think, is the biggest ripoff.
So like I've sat at the Terrace Club too. It was a $75 ticket, and I can't remember.
You get an $8 discount.
Yeah.
You're ripped.
The All-Star Club, I want to sit in the All-Star Club.
All-Star Club is good. I've had 2 All-Star Clubs.
Yeah, it's essentially a
Diamond.
suite. Yeah, it's essentially a suite that you can sit in a suite on the suite level. So it has everything included, food and drink and all that good stuff. I haven't sat there yet.
Maybe once I get to that level on YouTube, then I can do stuff like that at least once a year.
Ooh. Who do you think has the best stadium in the American League?
I have to go through all of the teams as we're looking at a 1-2. If it was if it was Old Yankee Stadium, I would have said Old Yankee Stadium. If it was still around.
Right.
Because the Yankee Stadium not only had its classical charm, but when you went there for a playoff game, I was horrified watching a Mariners Yankees playoff game. Like I was horrified watching it. Like it was like a horror movie, the pitch, a horror thriller, more like.
I'll get to Fenway this year, but for me it's Progressive Field in Cleveland. That is such
Cleveland.
No, that ballpark is awesome because the way that it sits, you have the downtown area over left field, the giant scoreboard,
3-2, and popped up, and
no matter where you sit, it's a good seat in the house. Plus, everything is affordable there. I can respect it. Although I will say, Comerica is kind of nice too. It has that old tiny ballpark feel.
Aqua Sox in trouble. They're giving up 2 runs.
Yeah, it's gotta be Progressive Field in Cleveland.
Let's go small minor. We got Randy Rosarena the pitch. Low for a ball 4. Everett Aqua Sox Stadium or Cheney Stadium?
Cheney.
I'm an Aqua
cool.
guy.
Don't get me wrong. I like Everett Memorial Stadium, and I heard that right before I left, they had approved money to
build a new one.
No, it was either remodel or build a new one. I think they chose remodel.
They're building a new one downtown.
Oh, are they? Okay, good for them.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it because I love the old stadium, but I guess they got to make their money. The pitch.
Well, yeah.
And now here is up the middle. Now the throw is second, and that is not in time. And Randy Rosarena gets a stolen base. That pitch.
But they're gonna have an intimate park that's gonna incorporate the city. I can't wait to see it. But the problem with Everett Memorial is that they still don't have clubhouses, right? So they gotta change in the upstairs thing and then walk down the steps.
So it was more than just for fan reasons. It was more for player reasons. Makes sense.
If you did former minor league ballparks, you could do Rickwood. Is that in Mobile, Alabama? I don't know. Like, I think it's in
Alabama.
Yeah.
We're looking at 0-1 to Luke Raley, and now the pitch.
No,
swing and a miss, strike 2.
If you're gonna go that deep, then you have to go to the Field of Dreams. The Field of Dreams.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, but what I didn't like was they built for the Field of Dreams game. They built that stadium right next to the original Field of Dreams. No, they should have played on the actual Field.
They should have played on that. Disappointing. Low for a ball
with the house in the background.
Yeah, with the corn maze thing.
I will. I think they're doing the Field of Dreams this year. Maybe I'll get down to Iowa. I'm pretty close.
1-2 for Luke Raley. And now the pitch. And that's a foul back.
Hamtramck Stadium is kind of interesting. They remodeled that. That's where the old Detroit Stars used to play. Let's see.
1-2 so far.
Portland Civic Stadium was a hellhole for minor league baseball. That stadium sucked.
1-2 for Luke Raley. And now the pitch. Low for a ball, 2-2.
But after Cheney's remodel, that stadium became pretty cool.
Looking at the American League Stadium, like Detroit, don't really care. Cleveland, I can see Cleveland up there. Kansas City, no. Minnesota, no. Chicago, no.
Minnesota's got
strike 3.
I kind of like Minnesota's. I
Yankees,
like
no, because I heard a joke about the new Yankee Stadium. So like all the young people liked it, but all the older people hated it, and they said, This stadium not for Yankee fans. It's for bandwagon Yankee fans.
No, it's for rich Yankee fans.
Yeah, and you know what's the most ironic thing? Mets stadium. The Mets is where the rich people cheer for, and the Yankees is supposed to be for the poor. Is the poor people because the Bronx is the more poor area.
No,
Queens
no.
is the rich.
By the way, so it was always the Yankees were always Manhattan, the Manhattanites. It was always U.S. Steel. It was always the pinstripes represented like the Wall Street. Forever. This goes back to the 40s and the 50s. Like the Yankees represented Wall Street and big corporation Manhattan, where the Dodgers and the Giants were always the blue collar teams. And so the Mets, when the Dodgers and Giants left and the Mets came along, that's the Mets incorporated both Giants and Dodgers fans. And by the way, Citi Field is pretty cool. I like Citi Field.
Trying to figure out which stadium. So
nope, Toronto no.
No, Toronto's Skydome's ugly.
Yeah, the Polo Grounds. Yeah.
If Polo Grounds was alive, I would have chose Polo Grounds.
Dude, the Polo Grounds is 270 down both lines.
And the Mariners will still find a way to suffer by marine layer.
Ebbets Field looked cool. Shibe Park looked cool. Crosley Field looked cool. Some of those old stadiums, man, those were the best. Yeah, Shibe Park was pretty good.
Six Stadium.
I'm thinking, yeah. See, Six Stadium was cool. Six Stadium was cool because you could see Mount Rainier from the right center field seats.
Sadly, though, someone almost died in a porta potty in that.
I'm thinking.
Six Stadium.
What stadium was really cool back in the day? Where the old LA Angels used to play was like Wrigley Field West because they had the IV out there.
Never heard.
Seal Stadium in Oakland.
What about?
I'm trying to think.
Sportsman Park in St. Louis.
Yeah, Sportsman Park. Yeah, Sportsman Park. Metropolitan Stadium in Minneapolis.
The old Cleveland football stadium.
Yeah, I know. By the way, so here's the thing, though. The Indians originally played at League Park, and League Park was awesome because if you've seen pictures of old League Park, they had this big, gigantic right field wall, and it's still there today. That wall is still there, even though the stadium has most of the stadium is gone.
Griffith Stadium for the Washington Senators, or RFK Stadium.
Yeah. Well, no, RFK, Griffith Stadium was awesome because you could see the Capitol from behind home plate. That was pretty cool. But RFK Stadium was nasty, Peter. It was nasty.
The timing of naming that stadium was very sad, though, too.
Right. The crazy thing, though, is it was awesome was when the Marlins played in Joe Robbie Stadium. Joe Robbie Stadium. And that was, here's the thing, is it looked ugly, but it also looked cool at the same time. You know what I mean? Because the left field, they had to push the seats into the left field to create that little wall there.
3-2. And that's his ball 4, take your base, and Adolis Garcia gets on base with a walk, and Bryce Miller is approaching 60 pitches.
I always kind of liked Jack Murphy in San Diego a little bit.
Qualcomm?
But yeah, it was used to be Jack Murphy, but now it became Qualcomm. But Petco Park is kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Like people like it, but I don't know.
The pitch, and that's popped up and fouled. How about Oriole Park in Camden Yards?
See, that's probably it, right?
I just hated that they pushed the fence back.
The warehouse. Yeah, you know what? I will give Josh some love here because I was always a fan of the Homer Dome with the big giant hanky out there in right field.
Yeah, and then the big snowstorm which killed the Vikings season pretty much, is the reason why they started to build new stadiums. That big snowstorm where the snow literally like went through the roof.
What was awesome was that was a true
1-1.
Homer Dome. That the Metrodome was the true Homer Dome. I'm trying to think. It was. Let's see. I'll give this one, right. See, that's why I appreciate the Cubs and the Red Sox for sticking with Fenway and Wrigley, because they were able to remodel it, and those two stadiums with a facelift look pretty cool. But it was Tiger Stadium.
Oh, Tiger Stadium. Yeah. That was a cool stadium.
Yeah, dude, I remember when Cecil Fielder went out of the stadium.
Over the roof.
Yeah.
Same with Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson hit one out too. And it was awesome because the
1-2. Swing and a miss and the throw to second. Nope. The throw was wide. Dolis Garcia gets a stolen base.
I'm at a softball league game, so sorry. So that's the thing is Tiger Stadium's walls played in instead of necessarily playing out, so it was an easy poke. But that being said, when you looked at the dimensions, it was literally like 420 to center field to dead center field, and then it was like as the fences came this way, then it played true to like 325. But yeah, the Tiger Stadium was awesome, and the original Comiskey Park kind of played the same way.
And that is a strike 2. Strike 1.
They should bring back the support beam poles that get block views. The obstructed views, man.
Yeah, no thanks. As we are at 0-1 for Josh Young, the pitch. And now here's a line drive, and that is going to drop in for a base hit. And Adolis Garcia could be scoring, and he is going to score. And the Texas Rangers get on the board to make it a 2-1 game. And excuse me, it was not a line drive. It was just a bloop single. And you didn't really see much hustle out of Luke Raley on that one.
Yeah, Sportsman Park in St. Louis, yeah. I'm trying to think of the Baker Bowl in Philly, which was a dumb-looking stadium. The original Connie Mack Stadium.
Connie Mack Stadium. LA Coliseum was used for Dodgers baseball.
Mm-hmm. And they played a couple games at the LA Coliseum recently, towards the end of spring training. They had a couple of exhibition games there at the LA Coliseum, which was odd. It was really odd looking at that one because they have to put a portable fence in right field.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's like 225 down the left field line. It's so crazy.
0-2 so far for Berger. That is Jake Berger. And now the pitch. Check swing. He did not go. It's so sad that the way this game is going, I'm still hovering over the Everett Aquasox game, as now we are at 1-2. And now the pitch. Low for a ball again. And this is not exactly a good game for Bryce Miller. Like, sure, he's only given up 1 run, but still. I mean, if you look at his strikeouts, he hasn't really struck out much. Only 3 strikeouts, but 3 walks to make up against it. And now we are at the 2-2. And the pitch. Now here's a fly ball to deep right field and fouled. That could have really just killed the game quickly right there.
What I liked about the Metrodome was those big air conditioners that were behind home plate. A lot of teams questioned the Twins of you having an unfair advantage because they would turn on the air conditioners to blow out to the pitcher's mounds when the Twins were up to bat. I was like, do it, man, do it.
2-2. And now here's a throw to second base, and not in time as another stolen base has happened. And now it's 3-2. Bryce Miller is not looking good. I don't think he's going to last even past the 5th inning.
I was a big fan of the Kingdome bullpens down the lines. Those were the best because they were essentially in play.
You know what I was a big fan of? The big fireworks and AC/DC goes off and that huge alarm goes off when the home run happens.
Dude, I remember when
3-2.
it was like
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
like Jay Buhner hit a dinger, and they couldn't get the blowers in to get all the smoke out, and so the smoke settled down on the field, and it took them like a full inning to get rid of the smoke. They literally had to open the doors.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Now it's Jonah Heim up to the plate.
Jonah Heim.
And the pitch. And that's going to be missing it for a ball.
I remember the original Arlington Stadium.
That the one before the ballpark in Arlington?
Yeah, the one before the ballpark in Arlington.
It's also famous for that's where Jose Canseco hit his head, I think.
I think you're right.
The ball hit his head.
The original county stadium in Milwaukee.
Yeah, they used it for the Cleveland Indians for Major League.
Yep, sure did.
Looking at 1-1.
And then in Major League 2, it was the
ballpark in Camden Yards, which was really weird.
The Oriole Park in Camden Yards. It's like it's not Cleveland, bud.
And what was more weird is next year a Cleveland team would move to Baltimore, which made it more strange. 2-1 for Jonah Heim. And the throw to second, and not in time.
We need that music track on one of these streams, right? Like when the Mariners are when there's like a momentum swing in the game, it looks like the Mariners are getting into it. Then you play the music track for Major League.
Yeah, let's not play the copyright game, shall we? The 2-1. Swing and a miss and strike 2.
Would that be a copyright infringement, you think?
Well, the other problem is I tried to do that with all the noises and everything, but it doesn't go well with the mic. Then no one can hear me talk when I play the music.
So imagine when Seattle got the Pilots, but instead of using Sick Stadium, they instead bought Colt 45 Stadium and transferred. How would they move a stadium from Houston to Seattle? Like disassemble it and then move it by truck or something?
And that was a pitch, and that's a foul ball. 2-2 for Jonah Heim.
Yeah, the Seattle Pilots were a team that never should have been born. Now, without the Pilots, we never would have had the Mariners, but they were underfunded, and the city of Seattle would not give them money for renovations. And when they finally did give them something, it was they basically nickeled and dimed it to get ready for the '69 season.
I'm telling you, someone almost died in the porta potty. He got stuck in a porta potty.
But though the problem was by the time the Pilots rolled around, it was already a 30-year-old stadium, and that's the thing. It's like it was on its original water main, which couldn't handle 25,000 seats, and so they always had water issues in the bathrooms.
Concession workers couldn't even wash their hands.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad, and the crazy thing about it was that. They had to build like a makeshift press box for Major League Baseball, and it was literally like particle board. It was bad. It was really bad. The story behind it was
swing and a miss, strike 3, and that will retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning, 2-1. Rangers got the score.
The original story was that Dewey Soriano had an original investor, which used to be the owner of the Cleveland Indians. Because originally they were trying to move the Indians to Seattle. This was back in 1963, but they were using Seattle as leverage to get renovation money for Cleveland Stadium. And so when that happened and the Indian deal fell through, it was a U.S. senator that wanted a team in Kansas City because the A's bolted Kansas City, and so they had to expand by 2. And the story goes that Dewey Soriano had a investor, but when it came time for that investor to make his investment, he didn't. And so Dewey Soriano had to use his own money. And of course, he didn't have that kind of cash, which is why the Pilots had the most expensive ticket in Major League Baseball. And instead of building a young team that you can grow with and building it around youth, they just decided to get, has-beens and never-weres, and they fell apart. And that was it, man. One season in Seattle.
Yep.
But because they breached contract, because they had a contract not only with Major League Baseball, but they also had a contract with the city of Seattle. They were able to successfully sue, and they got the Seattle Mariners, and Seattle built the Kingdome.
Done by the legendary Senator Slade Gordon. And unfortunately, his time ended where he lost on a very close 2000 election to the still senator to this day, hard to say the name, Maria Cantwell.
Criminal.
And, yep, along with the legendary Patty Murray, who, by the way,
tennis shoes.
her senator time is, I'm barely older than that. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I remember when she got elected, and she was widely popular in a blue state. She was widely popular, but yeah. We're not going to get into that. But what I will say is that Slade Gordon, as far as sports goes, Slade Gordon is probably one of like the OGs of Seattle sports, because he was the one that actually put his weight and his office behind certain things that helped keep teams in Seattle.
And he was also trying to help save the Sonics too.
He was the dude that helped save baseball twice in Seattle. Like that, Slade Gordon is the OG, man. He was able to get the Mariners through a lawsuit, and then he was a part of the brokerage
95.
That helped get the stadium. So, yeah.
And he tried to push Ballmer Stadium too for Key Arena in 2008, but unfortunately the state didn't budge this time.
Yeah, but that there was also other things. That were dealing with. The city of Seattle just was not willing to negotiate.
No, a lot of terrible things. 1-2.
Yeah.
And here's a ground ball, and that will be fielded by the first baseman. And now that's going to be one out. Rowdy Tellez had a nice little hit, but just didn't go.
Yeah. Greg Nichols,
Miller will go with
that dude. Greg Nichols, man, is a shark, man.
He's strong-armed.
He's strong-armed. Clay Bennett to get that money. Yes,
that money was what.
No, it's like in public, he was talking about how much he loved the Sonics and how much of a public trust it is. But behind the scene, he was working for a plea deal so they can finally pay off Key Arena. That's all that was about. He's strong. He's stronger.
Otherwise, the lawsuit was extremely pointless.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it was there for.
Just wait just at least let the 2 years lease thing happen.
Well, there was no intention. The Sonics were not at all a part of the equation. He didn't care about the Sonics. He cared about paying off the money, paying off the Key Arena bonds.
Wing and a miss, strike one to Master Boney.
If you're gonna take it, you're gonna pay for it. You're not taking it for free.
That's possible. I think he did that too. He somehow got Nintendo to buy the team off of Jeff Somalian.
Yeah. So Slade Gordon was the guy that introduced Jeff Somalian with Howard Lincoln. Howard Lincoln was the CEO of Nintendo, and he was the guy that had Hiroshi. He was the guy that was the one that pitched Hiroshi Yamauchi. And
when you're Nintendo of America and you're doing a good job in America, you do have the edge, especially to a big guy in Japan. As we're looking at 2-2 for Master Boney, the pitch, and that's a foul ball.
And Yamauchi bought the team as a gift to the city.
And the gift was nearly taken away literally 3 years later. Almost.
The Tampa Bay Mariners, baby. I remember that.
Only to have another stadium problem where the stadium literally blew up and a swing and a miss, strike three.
Yeah, with the Mariners Safe at Home campaign of '92, I remember that when Nintendo bought the team and they had Super Mario. Yeah, Super Mario was everywhere, and there was a big Nintendo logo. Yeah, I remember those days.
Leo Rivas now up to the plate. Yeah, that was during that Super Nintendo era, which arguably people would say that was Nintendo's prime.
That was still original Nintendo era. Super Nintendo was coming out.
Super Nintendo was 91. 91.
Yeah, okay. 91. Okay, I thought it was like.
Would you
93,
say
but-
Super Nintendo was their prime, or was it the N64 or the GameCube? The 1.0.
Super
that
Nintendo
is
was their
Super
big
Nintendo.
one. Yeah, because by the time the problem is the N64 they just did too much with the N64 with the weird controllers.
Oh, their controller was awful.
Right, but it was the Sega
Too low.
Genesis that was the popular.
And
But
then
the cool part was that they made that the Konami games were universal for both Sega and Super Nintendo. So the games that originally were only available on Sega Genesis eventually came out on Super Nintendo. Because I remember when Mortal Kombat came out for Sega Genesis, and all those that had Super Nintendo were bitching. They finally put it out for Super Nintendo. I remember those days, man. That was actually kind of a big
3-1
deal.
for Leo Rivas, and we got 2 outs until Sega Genesis nuked themselves with their add-ons. Unfortunately,
the Sega CD
and the 32X, the 3-1, and Ball 4 Take Your Base, and then the Sega Saturn was like.
See, I like the Sega Saturn. I actually
please tell me you've played. Have you played Daytona USA on Sega Saturn? Please tell me you have.
Yes, I also played the original 2K franchises came out on Sega Saturn. So the original NFL 2K on
Sega Saturn.
Sega Saturn, and dude, playing with the Seahawks in the Kingdome was awesome. I used to do that quite a bit. But Josh says funny thing about she never went to a Mariners game. That was true. But by the time the Mariners
here's a throw to second, and not in time. Stolen base for Leo Rivas.
By the time Major League Baseball had opening series in Japan, and I think the Mariners were there like in 2018 or something like that, 2019.
19.
And then Ichiro came back and played a couple games in that series. Yamauchi's health was failing. So
Yamauchi died in 17.
Was it?
Yeah, he was already dead.
Because I thought the Mariners played a series in Japan and he died shortly after. Maybe I got the years wrong.
He died 2 years before that. As we are at 1-0, the pitch, and a lazy swing and a miss, and that's strike 1.
I might see if I can get a Sega Saturn. That would be awesome. SNES was peak in terms of sales, but the N64 and GameCube were peak Nintendo creativity, at least during the Yamauchi era as he stepped down. Oh yeah, okay. I will say that. See, like Nintendo went on
1-1 pitch
for a while.
Swing and a miss, strike 2.
Nintendo went on a lull for a long time, and then they kind of redeemed themselves with the Wii. The Nintendo Wii was kind of cool. I had a Wii for a while, and I enjoyed the Wii, man. That was fun.
And then the Wii U was like their bottoms.
But then when they came out the Switch, the Switch has changed everything.
The Switch did, but then the Switch 2 has already pissed off fans.
So keep the original Switch then. What's the problem? I played with my ex's. So I last time I saw my ex when she came out here last year, she brought her Switch, and I was kind of dinking around with the Switch, and I was like, oh, I understand why you bought this. This thing is nice, man. I kind of dig the Switch because you can beam it to your TV.
Now here's a blooper, and that is going to drop in for a base hit. And the runner is going to score Leo Rivas, and the Mariners extend their lead to 3-1 on a bloop single by J.P. Crawford. And Leo Rivas did not stop running.
There you go. But yeah, I like the Switch, man, because you can beam it to your TV.
Yep, that's what I do with it.
Yeah.
J.P. Crawford actually had an RBI, and J.P. Crawford, this is for you. I got to do this just... And now
by the way,
Julio Rodriguez up to the plate.
Heads up running there by Leo Rivas, man. Dude, that's what I like about Leo, man. He just I don't know. He's gritty. He gets on base and he's a good base. I like Leo Rivas.
Maybe we should just keep talking about a bunch of random things, and that gets the Mariners offense going as we're looking at 1-0 for Julio Rodriguez. And now the pitch.
Come on,
Julio.
Julio.
And a miss on the outside, and that is strike 1.
Let's go, Julio. Park one, baby. Blow this game wide open in the 4th.
Yeah, let's do this to give the bullpen some cushion because I don't think Bryce Miller's coming out into the 6th inning as we are at 1-1 from Jacob deGrom. He's at pitch 80 now. The pitch, and that is a swing and a literally right down the middle, and he doesn't even make contact. I don't care if it's a 96 or a 100 or 91. It was right down the middle, and he still missed it.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? It's like
1-2.
you can't play Major League Baseball if you can't hit a fastball. You can't
1-2.
be in a Major League Baseball unless you can hit the fastball. I am sick and tired of watching this team flail at fastballs right down the center of the
But it's the batter's eye. It's the batter's eye.
But it's Julio. It's Julio.
It's T-Mobile. The fence are too far back.
Yeah,
2-2 pitch for Julio Rodriguez. The pitch. And that's a foul ball. Again, right down the middle, and he fouls it back.
That's good for you, Rooftop. Apparently there was a lot of dingers with Houston.
Yeah, but none of them are my fantasy team, though. Except Yainer Diaz. Yainer Diaz hit a grand slam!
I remember the last time I played fantasy baseball, and I got off to a bad start, and so by July, I just wanted to tank the season. And I remember the greatest trade.
2-2 pitch, and that is popped up, and
this
fouled.
was the fantasy version of Frank Robinson for Milt Pappas. Okay, it was the fantasy version. I traded Sammy Sosa for Keith Folk.
That's how much you tanked.
I tanked, man. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Do you know who was the MVP of my team last year? As we were looking at 2-2. It was any starter against the Mariners on the streaming.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then everyone else picked up the strategy. 2-2. And now it's popped up going to right field. Adolis Garcia might be there. And that's fouled again.
Yeah, dude, T-Mobile Park is 100% corporate, man. 100% corporate.
You do feel the corporate vibes out of that stadium, don't you? You really don't feel much life.
You got the magenta of T-Mobile everywhere. You got them even on the retractable roof. The pillars on top of the retractable roof in the crisscross section. You have it underneath the lights right there, dude. You got T-Mobile everywhere. Plus you get Toyota. They got Nintendo on the patch.
Ball.
They got Nintendo on the sleeve now.
Did you like it when it was Safeco Field? Did you feel more life?
No.
So
it's an insurance. It was an insurance company. It was the insurance ballpark. Their corporate sponsor was an insurance company, for fuck's sake.
A dead insurance company, aren't they? The pitch. Now here's a fly ball to left field, and Marine Layer, gotcha, out.
The cool part about T-Mobile Park, the only thing that I like is the pen in center field, that you can literally grab a beer and then go watch pitchers warm up. I like that quite a bit. That's the only thing about T-Mobile. Yeah, at least it wasn't Enron. Touche,
Enron.
Touche, Josh. Touche.
Enron devastating the lives of many, while the ones who ran Enron to the ground, they got a huge ass bonus.
Yeah, didn't they get off scot-free? Yeah.
Pretty much. A huge parachute.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Golden parachute. Okay, what would you call this? You drop out of college, and it was knowing that the program was totally not going to work, but you got a promotion in one of your part-time jobs. What kind of parachute would you call that? Or you just call that getting the bleep out?
Say it again.
You were in college.
Okay.
You finally find out in 2 months the program was garbage. And in one of your part-time jobs, you got a promotion right after dropping out.
So you're in college, and you find out the program that you're in is complete
master. It was a master's degree.
All right. So in college, you're working towards a master, but you find out the program is complete garbage.
Yes.
But your part-time job, you get a promotion.
Yes.
Which is better? Are you asking me which is better, or you're just giving
what kind of parachute? What kind of parachute would you call that? It's not golden, obviously.
It's not golden. I would say that it's like a lifeline. It's like Yeah, it's certainly not. It's certainly not a golden parachute. A golden parachute is what happened with the dude at Boeing. That's a golden parachute where you cut funding on safety procedures, knowing that by doing that a plane is going to go down. A plane goes down, you lose your job, but you're given $15 million on your way out the door. That, my friend, is a golden
Is a
parachute.
golden parachute. Yeah, makes me wonder which type of people got away with the TWA Flight 800, the third worst aviation accident in history. The pitch, some say it was because the plane was cheap, and some say it was because it was hit by a missile.
And what's funny is they had whistleblowers who said that a safety inspector that blew the whistle, who lost his job for blowing the whistle, told everyone about the corners they were cutting, and they weren't doing their mandatory safety inspections, which are actually mandated by the FAA. So you have an executive knowingly cutting corners because they don't want to pay to do these safety tasks to make sure that these things, stay in the air. Knowing a plane will go down, the plane goes down. And instead of being arrested for negligence, because that's negligence, he gets a $15 million
2-0.
He gets a
swing and a miss, strike one.
He gets kicked out. He gets kicked out the door with a $15 million going away present.
You know what makes me think of? Go ahead.
What's that? Josh says, funny thing, one of those Enron executives had a daughter named Elizabeth Holmes who created a massive medical
swing and a miss,
called
strike
Theranos.
two.
Yeah, and how she got the funds, I have no idea. No, and she got busted too. That's funny.
No, one of the cutting corners that makes me think of is Alaska Airlines crash of 2000 with the jack screw. That one was the definition of cutting corners on that plane. The 2-2.
I forget about
now
that.
Here's a fly ball drilled to right field, and I lied to you. Luke Rayleigh makes the catch. It wasn't drilled.
What was that 2000 with the jack screw? Remind me of that.
The plane was going down, and they lost control of the plane, so they tried to go inverted to go up this way, but they crashed in the Pacific Ocean. They almost pulled it off too.
Kind of like Denzel Washington in Flight, where he inverts the plane to land.
That's what the movie was literally inspired by.
Oh, well, there you go. A couple people in Enron went to prison only to have their conviction overturned later. Yeah, if you got enough money, you'll get a pardon,
100%. Which is why people like some are grinding.
The other golden parachute was the housing crisis that led to the crash in 2007, 2008.
Lehman Brothers?
All those Wall Street executives that were betting on a hard eight, knowing it was all going to fail. So they actually can drive revenue up to the $500 million mark, knowing that this was going to fail. People are going to lose their entire livelihoods. So instead of going to jail, they get bailed out by the federal government, and those guys get bonuses, like huge ass bonuses.
I know people that worked in that industry. They lost.
Yeah,
they couldn't. They took at least 4 years to recover. Maybe 2 years if they're lucky.
A very good friend of mine who banked, whose parents banked at WAMU, had now the FDIC only insures up to $250,000, and they had something crazy in their savings, like close to $1 million. All their house mortgage was through Washington Mutual. So everything was through Washington Mutual, and that obviously collapsed. Collapsed Washington Mutual, and they lost everything. They lost their savings. They lost their house. They lost their cars. And they had to move to a trailer, like a single wide trailer. And they were by that point, they were in their 60s, and they lost their nest egg. And it's
2-2 and foul. And you assume that their stocks went to piss too. All of their S&Ps and shit.
Imagine working your butt off for 30 plus years, and you have kids, but you make enough money where you're able to save, and you can squirrel money away. And you're saving specifically for your retire, because when you get to that retirement age, which at that point they were in their early 60s, and I think the dad was set to retire in 3 years, at 65, and they were going to peace out and go somewhere warm. You're 3 years away from retirement, and you damn near saved up $1 million, and in the blink of an eye, all of it's gone.
Makes me want to say 3-2 pitch to Simeon, and now it's a ground ball foul. That's how it's just things. Negligence by the uppers. But
yeah, but Josh says, "Well, how many people lost everything to the .com bubble?" Yeah, but also how many people ended up walking away with billions of dollars because of that before they they were smart enough to cash out before the bubble
3-2.
burst.
Now here's a fly ball to shortstop, and JP Crawford makes the catch, and now we've got 2 down.
I like Marcus Simeon.
Do you like Jen Mueller?
That's the dude I wanted the Mariners to get, Marcus Simeon.
What about
do I like
Seager?
Yeah, I like Seager. We were never going to get Seager. I thought Simeon was gettable at least. Do I like Jen Mueller? Yeah.
She was on camera again.
Yeah, I see her right now.
The pitch, and that's gonna be foul ball. And Corey Seager.
10 years ago, she was good looking.
Corey Seager, he did once indirectly attack John Stanton before on behalf of his brother.
I know. That's why I like.
You could tell that it was against John Stanton.
I respect Corey Seager for stepping up to protect his brother in that moment. But yeah, 100% it was a jab at.
Because he was like, "Oh yeah, we have such great ownership." I'm like, "Oh shit, that's a jab at Mariners ownership, isn't it?"
And when you realized how the Mariners pushed Seager out the door with an email, man, like we thought it was bad when Scott Service found out he didn't have a job via a tweet. Imagine telling you that you're unemployed through an email.
I think email sounds more professional than the tweet, though. The tweet was indirect communication.
It's all horseshit. It's all of it.
Well, especially when someone calls you overpaid and the 1-2 pitch.
You're the heart of the team. You're the heartbeat of the team. You're widely respected in the franchise. And instead of Jerry DiPoto come up to Kyle and saying, "Hey, we want to kind of go in a different direction. Would you mind taking a pay cut? Would you mind taking a pay cut and playing on this for next year? We're going to go in a different direction, but we like to have you." It wasn't even that. It was,
"You're out.
See ya."
It really shows how much of a narcissist that Jerry DiPoto is. I don't like calling people narcissists, but Jerry DiPoto is 1-3-2. And here's a fly ball to right center field, and that should be playable. And Julio makes the catch, and that will retire the side.
So Scott Service knows how Tom Landry feels. So Tom Landry was fired via email from Jerry Jones.
It could have been mail because I don't think email was around back then for Tom Landry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did he get something in the mail that said, "Dear Tom, thank you for everything. Go fuck yourself, Jerry Jones. You're fired."
You know what's crazy? What I've noticed for these Mariners games, whenever the home runs hit, they finally brought back ACDC, and I actually believe that they actually were No, I'm thinking. So whenever the Mariners hit a home run back in the '90s, it was AC/DC. I put that on my shorts because I'm nostalgic. And then next year,
if I remember correctly, it was Thunder, right?
Yeah, it was Thunderstruck.
Thunder.
Because I started doing that. I've been doing it on my shorts because I want to feel nostalgic. But then the Mariners, I think they peeked on my YouTube channel. And go, "Oh, right, I remember that. Yeah, let's put that on. Thanks, Rooftop."
Nah. But I'm glad they're doing that because the Mariners are all about nostalgia, anyways, right? We're still talking about 1995, and that was 30 years ago, right? So,
so you think I had nothing to do with it? You think I'm overthinking?
Well, I'm just saying it's like a team that is constantly living in the past, like the Seattle Mariners. So we're still talking about 95. We're still talking about 2001. We're still talking about the Cal Raleigh home run. Right, so it's only natural that they would dip back into the Wayback Machine to pull up Thunderstruck or pull back Louie Louie, right, to give it that that nostalgia feel. The next thing you know, the Mariners are going to say, "We need a new stadium, and this time we want a dome stadium. We want to rebuild the Kingdome."
That makes me feel great.
Can you imagine, by the way?
Yeah, let's build all concrete and have it fall on people. Let's do that. That sounds like a great idea.
I will say it would be interesting if the Mariners went to an outfield configuration that mirrored the dimensions of the Kingdom, right? Like that horseshoe outfield. You know what I mean? And figured out a way to like either put like beer gardens or whatever in that empty space or more seats or whatever the case may be. And I wonder how it would play with Kingdom dimensions at T-Mobile Park.
I don't think it'd make a difference.
You
And
don't
the
think it
pitch.
makes a difference?
Well, don't forget, Kingdom Center Field was still just as long as the original T-Mobile Park. It was still, they were both 405s.
Right.
The biggest difference was you're indoors, no thick air of anything a factor.
Correct.
That's why
Correct.
it was
Correct.
in the 1-1, 2-1. Now, am I saying it's the reason why the Mariners suck it off? It's no, because they don't have to live and die by home runs. And that's what Jerry DiPoto does. He brings in personnel that live and die by home runs.
Right. See,
if
that's
it was the
thing.
Kingdom, he could do whatever he wants. Now,
Right,
here's
he
a
was
liner,
built-
and that's
he's-
a base hit.
Jerry DiPoto is trying to build the team to play in the Kingdom, not T-Mobile Park, right? It doesn't
If he
play the
was
same.
building it in the Kingdom, he would have won GM of the year, Executive of the Year by now.
By the way, if this team was playing in the Kingdom, they probably would have made the playoffs the last couple of years.
Yeah. Now
They
again,
probably
we're not blaming T-Mobile Park for it. We're just saying that Jerry just brings in the wrong personnel.
Yeah.
Or
we're
he
saying
doesn't.
We're saying that Jerry DiPoto doesn't know how to build a baseball team. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, we're not saying it's, oh yeah, if it was Kingdom.
Josh is saying let's rebuild 6 stadium. Okay. Also put in a hill in the stadium and a flagpole in fair play.
And all the porta potties.
No,
And have someone nearly die in one. The pitch. And
they would have figured out a way to bottle it at the end and not get to the World Series. Josh, you're forgetting that we got close to the World Series a few times, only to lose to Cleveland and Baltimore.
Knowing Cleveland and their choking history, I would consider that an upset over the Mariners because Cleveland's known to choke, and somehow the one that chokes harder choked.
That 95 Indians team was awesome.
Albert Bell, Eddie Murray, Jim Thome, Carlos Baerga, Oral Hershiser, Charles Nagy, 40-year-old Dennis Martinez, pitched to Cal Raleigh, and that's
Oral Hershiser. Yeah, that was a good team. Julian Taveras in the bullpen.
Jose Mesa when he wasn't a total dumpster fire.
Yeah, that was a good team, man. That was a really good team. Eddie Murray was on that team.
He was
Hall of Famer.
Sandy Alomar Jr.
Sandy Alomar Jr. Yeah, in '97, I think. Because if you remember,
strike three called and down goes Cal Raleigh.
Because if you remember, Jim Thome was playing third base and Paul Sorrento was playing first.
Yep.
And then in '97, Thome had already moved to first, and then Matt Williams was at third base. That was that '97 team was even better.
Would you rather have Marquise Grissom or Kenny Lofton? I'm still a Lofton guy over Grissom.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I think that was one of their slight downfalls. Ground ball, double play ball, throw to second.
The 97
in time for double play.
The 97 Indians beat Mariano Rivera in Game 4 when nobody got to Mariano Rivera in the playoffs. But the 97 Indians beat him in Game 4. Indians take it in Game 5 en route to the World Series. But it was Jose Mesa in Game 7 of the World Series, up 2-1.
And blew it.
That's
why he lost his closing job to Mike Jackson, also another former Mariner that the Mariners threw away like trash. They threw him away like trash twice because they traded him to get a fat Kevin Mitchell for 92.
Even in peak Mariner days, I always felt the Mariners were a feeder team to better teams, right? So, like, how many guys did we end up giving to the Red Sox? How many guys did we end up giving to the Yankees? It just boggled my mind that this team just never had the ambition.
Mariners built a dynasty and ended a curse within a decade. How insane is that?
We had 4 first ballot Hall of Famers playing together in their prime at one point.
And the Mariners squandered every bit of it. And
By the way, that'll never happen again in Major League history, ever. Because I can't remember a team that had 4 first ballot Hall of Famers playing together at the same time in the prime.
I can't. Maybe the
Well,
Yankees.
let's see. The Yankees. So it was Jeter.
No,
So
we're
Jeter,
talking 27 Yankees.
Right. So let's put that aside, right? So in modern history, because John Mattingly retired in '95, so you had Jeter, Rivera, Clemens. Let's see. You had, I don't know about Paul O'Neill.
No, he's not he's not a Hall of Famer.
Jorge Posada. I don't think so.
No, he's not a Hall of Famer. No,
Bernie
3.
Williams.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
So Pettit's not a Hall of Famer. David Wells is not a Hall of Famer. Randy Johnson is a Hall of Famer, but by the time he got there, it was past dynasty. Tino Martinez is not a Hall of Famer. So yeah, 3.
And Yankees, you can only name Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, really.
Oh, Murderers Row, the 1927 Yankees. Hold on real quick.
They were called Murderers Row, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And that is an 0-2. And they said that's one of the greatest baseball teams ever, the 27 Yankees. Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. The 0-2. That is low for a ball. And by the way, Trent Thornton has come on from the bullpen.
So here we go. The 1927 team included 6 players who were inducted to the Hall of Fame. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Waite Hoyt, Tony Lazzeri, Earl Combs, and Herb Pennock. So they had 6. The 1927 Yankees, yeah, for sure.
Now here's a line drive, and that's going to be a base hit, and luckily it hits the wall, but they're going to get a double out of that. And Randy Rosarena, move your ass, man. He doesn't even hustle. He's a poser.
So Trent Thornton's on the hill.
That
was shot right. Shot down the line, and look at Randy Rosarena just jogging.
He's just showing no urgency. To be fair, Bryce Miller did throw 100 pitches, and he didn't look that great. But this
I'm trying to
Trent Thornton thing just doesn't work for me. Now we got, I think this is Adolis Garcia up to the plate. Now the pitch, and that hit him. Well, at least you have a double play in place, and Adolis Garcia is not happy about that. And now he's going to first base.
Here we go. So the 1980 Oakland A's had 5 players who were later inducted to the Hall of Fame: Ricky Henderson, Bert Campaneris, Reggie Jackson, Dennis Eckersley, and Dave Stewart. Yeah, I thought the 88 A's probably had some guys. And Jose Canseco and McGuire would be Hall of Famers, but
88, Ricky Henderson wasn't even on the team. He was still on the Yankees, and then 89 was when they traded for him.
I thought it was 88.
88 didn't have Henderson. 1990, that was their best assembled A's team, but then Nasty Boys by Lou Piniella and Norm Charlton happened. And Paul O'Neill was on that team too. Jock Peterson up to the plate, and Texas Rangers have a chance to do some damage with 2 men on, and that is a strike.
Okay. So it was a June of 89. Okay. So they had 4. They had 4 too.
Thornton's not ideal, but Dan's got a plan for 4 innings. Someone outside of the high-end arms had to come in. And now the pitch. And now here's a ground ball, double play ball. Throw to second and throw to first. And it is in time for the double play. But a runner will move to third base. But the Mariners did get 2 outs out of that.
The 1990 Cincinnati Reds only had 1 Hall of Famer. That was Barry Larkin.
Lou Piniella, it's still shocked that Lou Piniella is still not a Hall of Famer to this day. I mean, I guess
as a player or a coach?
Coach.
So yeah, he only has 1 World Series. Yep.
That's why. If only the Mariners won at least 1 World Series, I think he would have been a shoo-in.
Maybe.
Or at least he would have gotten it by now. Probably not first ball. Here's a fly ball to deep right field. And Rayleigh nope, that is gone. That is a home run. And the Texas Rangers have just tied the game off of Josh Young's 2-run home run. And this ball game is just brand new all of a sudden. Rangers are clearly back in business. Oppo Taco, that was.
Oppo Taco. I will say that, and of course, Trent Thornton is the one that gets hammered. Yeah. Glasses. I like Trent Thornton too, but damn, that sucks. But the thing is Lou Piniella leaves Seattle for Tampa. So it was the decisions post Seattle. So he goes from a good situation and a
And
winning
now he's a ground
percentage.
line drive base hit by Berger, and this is just falling apart for the Mariners.
So you have the best winning percentage in Mariners history as a manager, Lou Piniella. And then he goes to Tampa. He goes to Tampa, and literally, they're terrible. And then
his only highlight was reuniting with Tino. That was literally his only highlight in Tampa, was reuniting with Tino Martinez in 04.
And then he goes to the Chicago Cubs.
And at least made him a playoff contender.
Yeah, but I mean, again, just not enough talent there in Chicago. And so when you factor in if you look at his early managerial career with the New York Yankees, it was during the '80s where the Yankees weren't the Yankees. But then he has that nice little run with Cincinnati and Seattle. But that being said, it was like if he would have chose his teams a little bit better post Seattle, he might have.
Also the Yankees in the '80s was just a product of just bad timing and poor Mattingly too. He went through all of that.
It was the '94 Yankees that probably could have won a World Series. That '94 Yankee team during the lockout when they traded for David Cohn in '94, and then they went on a run. And right until they went to the right when they went into the strike, they were in first place.
What about? Do you think they would have beaten the Expos because they were a more complete team?
Let me see.
David Cohn was traded for, by the way, in '95.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I checked. But yeah, '94, the Yankees under Buck Showalter, they had Mike Stanley as their catcher, Don Mattingly, Pat Kelly, Mike Gallego, Wade Boggs, Mike Gallego, Bernie Williams, a young Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, and Danny Turable.
All right. So here it is right here. So at the day of the strike, the Yankees were 70-43. The Orioles were in second place. The Blue Jays were in third. Red Sox, Tigers. Tigers were in last. In the Central, the White Sox were leading the Central by 1 game over the Indians. The Royals were 4 games back, but the Twins and Brewers were buried. And then the Texas Rangers were leading the West at 52-62. I forget how bad the AL West was that year. The A's were in second place, 51-63, and the Mariners were 49-63 at the.
Little do people know, Mariners were on that very hot streak after the fact they were forced to play on the road for an extended amount of time.
So it was the Expos that were leading the East by 6 games at the time over the Braves. The Reds had a half-game lead over the Astros, and the Dodgers led the West by 3.5 over the Giants. And so if you were playing it out, it would probably be most likely the wild card probably would have been the Braves, maybe the Astros, but most likely the Braves. And in the American League, it probably would have been, had the Mariners came back and took that division, it probably would have been the Indians that were going to be the wild card. So the question is would the Expos get to the World Series that year? Maybe
1-1 for Luke Raley. And now here's a ground ball right to shortstop, throw to first, and it's still in time.
Because the Reds were a pretty good team in '94.
They had a young little Brett Boone and Aaron Boone.
But yeah, I would say that the Expos had a pretty good shot at getting there. But could they have beaten the Yankees or the Mariners in '94? Definitely, they probably. If the Mariners won the West that year,
they could have. They would have. They had
a
shot.
Could have.
Do you think they would have made a deep run because they would have had an underdeveloped Edgar Martinez? Jay Buhner didn't hit 40 home runs yet.
Well,
Tino was 10 pounds heavier.
They were only 2 games out at 49-63 at the time of the strike, so they were right there. But could they have beaten Cleveland, Chicago, or New York? Maybe. Maybe, because the Indians were still 1 year away. That was a good Indians team in '94, but They were
1
1 year away, and we saw that in 95.
Big swing and a miss. Rowdy Tellez, we need that from you.
But that would probably be the year that the Expos could have won it. And had that not happened, and they got to that and were able to get to the World Series, they stayed in Montreal.
0-2. And strike 3 called. And now we're back to the Rowdy Tellez that we know and love.
Can you believe that the Tigers were in the East at one point?
They were in the East?
Yeah, because the Brewers were still in the AL Central.
I gotta look at these standings. It probably looks all messed up so bad.
Because we didn't have Tampa or Colorado yet.
Oh,
we had Colorado. Sense. We had Colorado, but we didn't have Tampa. So because because Tampa. Yeah, so once Tampa came in, the Tigers went to the Central and the Brewers went to the NL.
So it wasn't until 98. Yep, you're right.
Yep.
Here's Miles Mastrobuoni, the 0-1, and that is a strike. Shoot. And Steve, I'm aware that you're getting close to your end time because it's late as shit for you.
Mm-hmm.
0-2. Hopefully the Mariners can at least give you a run before you go to sleep.
Yeah, maybe.
0-2 for the Mastrobuoni.
Like, we were close to 94.
0-2. And that is going to be low for a ball. 1-2. Yeah, Griffey was chasing the Maris record along with Matt Williams. That's what makes it more disappointing. 94 was the best season that never finished. We could have had a below 500 division winner. The 1-2.
Yeah,
now here's a ground ball right to second base. And that's going to retire the side. And we got 3 outs, 1, 2, 3. And Steve, I know you got to go, but thank you for your entertainment and all your words of knowledge as usual.
Absolutely. You guys have a good night. By the way, tomorrow morning we have a show over on Stateside Footy, our Tottenham recap, and of course tomorrow night is our MLS live stream with the Seattle Sounders. So all you soccer fans, head on over to the YouTube channel and give it a like and subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you then.
All right, guys.
All right, so now I'm back solo. I can finally take this off. The headsets, at least. And the Aqua Sox are getting absolutely hammered themselves, unfortunately. And now we are getting close to being back from the break. And it's pretty sad where the Mariners are at right now. Oh, after this, I got to go to the bathroom as we are going into the top of the 6th inning. Aqua Sox down 5-1. They have 2 men on base with 2 outs, though. And it's 3-3 between the Texas Rangers and the Seattle Mariners. Had they just moved the team to the AL West instead, there would have been no need to move the Astros to the AL West. So you think the Brewers should have never been moved to the NL? Yeah, a lot of what could have been. And now we got Gabe Spire, who is now coming out of the bullpen. And it probably should have been Gabe Spire earlier, as Trent Thornton could not be trusted. As we are in the top of the 7th inning, this is Taveras, Leody Taveras. And now the pitch. And that is a strike. Taveras 0-1. And that's going to be an 0-2 count on Leody Taveras. As we're at bottom of the... we're at top of the 7th. I was looking at the Aqua Sox minor league game. And now the 0-2. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, and that will be 1 out. After the bottom of the 7th inning, then I'm going to take my little bathroom break. Whoa. Look at the prices for these Diamond Club seats. The prices are in... What? Who would spend $55,000? You better be a big business for that. It is more geared towards the big business for the catering. And now we've got Marcus Semien. That is a 1-0 count so far. And the 1-0 pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 1. One and one so far. And the pitch. Swing and a miss at the dirt, and that's going to be strike 2. Gabe Spire pitching a lot better than Trent Thornton. Trent Thornton was an absolute disappointment in this game. Oh, wah, the ABS. Wah, wah, wah. That's for you, Josh. And now the 1-2. And that's going to be outside for ball 2. And the pitch. That is low for ball 3. 3-2. This game's really putting me to sleep because it is that bad of a game. Well, it's 3-3, so I guess it's competitive, but Mariners should be winning 3-1, but Trent Thornton's a bum. And now the 3-2 for Marcus Semien and the pitch. And now here's a ground ball. And that's going to get right through for a base hit, fair ball. And he's going to go to second base. Randy Arozarena fields it, not really much with urgency. And now you've got a runner on second base. It's 3-3 so far. Three to three, top of the 7th inning. Randy Arozarena is hustle, double, or defensive indifference. A little bit of both. And we got Carlos Vargas in the bullpen. And here's Kyle Seager up to the plate. It's crazy that the Mariners had a 3-run lead and it's already gone. And now the pitch. And that is right down the middle for a strike. And now the 0-1. And that's going to be low for a ball. 1-1. They pulled a Houston in the final game of the series. Kind of did, didn't they? At least at a less extreme scale. Now the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Strike 2 for Kyle Seager. Corey Seager, that is. And the pitch again. Oh, it was just replay. Pitch. That is low for a ball. Wonder what happened to Las Montez. He's only had one at bat. Now the 2-2 pitch to Corey Seager. Now here's a fly ball to deep left field. And Randy Arozarena's there to make the catch. And tagging at second is Marcus Semien. Throw to third. And not only a terrible throw by Randy Arozarena, but also Miles Mastrobuoni not paying attention at all. Couldn't track the ball, but also terrible throw by Randy Arozarena. I think Randy Arozarena just doesn't have any value for this team. He plays absolutely no defense. He's just all a poser. Once Las Montez is available, and if he contributes, there's no room for Arozarena anymore. And Luke Raley's not even that great of a fielder either, so we're pretty much thin on options. Here's Josh Smith up to the plate. And the pitch. And that is a ground ball foul. Josh Smith is now looking at 2 for 3. Oh, 1. And that's going to be an 0-2. Nope, that's a ball. And now the 1-1. And that is strike 2 for Josh Smith. One and 2 for Smith. And that is up high for a ball. And you know that Gabe Spire is not going to be pitching after this inning. On deck is going to be Adolis Garcia. New York is up 3-1 to the Athletics. Now the 2-2 pitch. Low for a ball. 3-2 full count on Josh Smith. Gabe Spire struggling to find the strike zone all of a sudden. Gabe Spire's been having a much better season than last season. Trent Thornton's been playing absolutely atrocious. The pitch. And strike 3 called, and that's going to retire the side. Gabe Spire's pumped about it. And let's go into the 7th inning stretch. I'm just going to go straight to it. And we're going to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, so let's root for the Mariners. If they don't win, it's a shame. It would be a shame because Polanco and Tellez hit a home run. 4, it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Oh no, we gotta go. Yeah. Low. Oh, baby. Gotta go. Oh, by the way, there is Las Montez up to the plate. I gotta do the play-by-play on this. Las Montez is working on a pitch, and now here it is, and that's gonna be a ground ball foul. This is part of the 7th inning special. Maybe we'll get to Las Montez's home run. It's 5-1 hops against the Aqua Sox. Montez is 0 for 1. He did walk previously. And let's make this happen. Now, the pitch to Las Montez, and a swing and a miss, and he will go down in strikes for strike 3. And we are back from the break. As the Mariners, they are still down. And now we've got Leo Rivas, the hustler, and he was trying to flash a bunt, and now he's going to take it for a strike. What's crazy about this team is 2 of their main starters are out for a very extended period amount of time. Victor Robles and Ryan Bliss. So the Mariners have got to do something to help with that depth. And now here's Leo Rivas again, and he watches it for a strike. It's an 0-2. Mariners have got to make some magic happen. You don't really want to... You'd hate to lose the opening series of Texas, especially when you had an okay start from Bryce Miller, where he only gave up 1 run. Leo Rivas has walked twice. And the pitch. And this time it's a ball. In the bullpen, we got Chris Martin. Rivas is waiting, and the 0-2, the 1-2, and that's going to be a 2-2 pitch, 2-2 count. Rivas was recently called up due to the injury of Ryan Bliss. And now we're looking at 2-2, the pitch, and check swing. Did he go? He did go, strike 3, and that is going to be 1 out. It's almost like you're not even frustrated anymore. It's just hilarious. As we got a big hit by Ty Pete, not really. And the minor leaguer makes a catch. J-Rod squad, don't care about it. Now here's the pitch to J.P. Crawford. And that's going to be in there for a strike. As we're looking at 1-1. And now the 1-1 pitch. And that is inside for a ball. 2-1. And the pitch. And that is strike 2. That was right. Literally your pitch, J.P. Crawford. How could you not hit that? Or at least take a swing at that? Now it's 1-2 for J.P. And now the pitch. And that is a foul ball. Now we're going to try this again at 1-2 for JP. Excuse me. JP still fighting at a 1-2. Milner is set. And the pitch. And outside for a ball, 2-2. Crawford is 1 for 1. Had an RBI earlier, but he's got to do more. And now the 2-2 pitch. And now here's a ground ball. Easy play by the pitcher. And now it's going to be up to Julio Rodriguez with 2 outs. Just can't believe what I'm seeing. Like, this is just absolutely pathetic. I'm going to tell you this. If that ever Aqua Sox game is any close in the 8th inning or the 9th inning by the time the Mariners game is over, I may actually consider doing the play-by-play for that. Because this is pathetic. And they're going to the bullpen. And this is going to be brought to you by a pizza place because I got to go freaking pee-pee. Senor, tell me how you make a thin crust Sahara pizza.
With your hands. Cornmeal.
While he makes that pizza, what's up baseball fans and pizza lovers? In celebration of the start of the baseball season, we've got a home run of a deal for you. We're offering 50% off all menu items on Mondays and Tuesdays and 25% off bowling. Don't strike out on this amazing deal. Check out our menu in the description of this video. And start ordering now. Delivery is also welcome. This offer goes through April.
And that's how you make a Sahara pizza. Beautiful thin crust.
And I am back and take advantage of those deals. Those deals happen only on Tuesdays for Sahara Pizza and Snoqualmie. Chris Martin is now on the bullpen with 2 outs, and we got Julio Rodriguez because they're playing with the righty-righty matchup, I guess. And now the pitch. Now here's a ground ball right to Josh Young. Throw to first, and that is in time. And again, the lack of hustle out of Julio Rodriguez again. The guy just doesn't run it straight through at all, doesn't he? He's got to leg those out. He's got the speed to do it. This is why you're not going to be a Bobby. This is why you're not going to be a Bobby Woods. This is exactly why you will not be at the level that Bobby Wood Jr. is, and you're supposed to be. I'm going to call it Julio Lazy. I got to go play a commercial. I think. I got to have a snack. I'm kind of hungry moment. I got placed in that mood. Luckily, I got some pretzels to finish off. Got some free at work. Gonna eat pretzels because this team makes me eat. Oh, great. Vargas is coming in. We're screwed. And we are back from the break. Carlos Vargas is in. Oh, we have some scoring going on for the Aqua Sox. And Adolis Garcia pops up and fouled. This game makes me eat, I'm telling you. Milwaukee up 5-0 on the Diamondbacks, huh? Oh, 1 for Adolis Garcia. And the pitch. And that is a strike. 0-2. Oh, and 2. And now here's a fly ball, and that's going to go right in the gap, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. And going to second base is Garcia. The throw to second. And Julio with an atrocious throw. The throw was wide. And Garcia's safe because of it. What are you doing, Julio? Do you not have a throwing arm at all? It's pathetic. Adolis Garcia had a little base hit. Throw was wide. This is garbage. And now you got the next hitter up to the plate. We're screwed. The pitch. And that's a strike. It's Jock Peterson. As we're looking at 0-1 and the pitch. And popped up. And that could be playable. And he makes the catch. That's Miles Mastroboni makes the catch. Maybe you should pinch hit Dylan Moore at this point. Mastroboni is worthless. Hey, Relo. Yeah. Uh-huh. No, I just be the pitch to Josh Young, and that's going to be outside for a ball. You know what? Take the bat away from him. Let someone else hit. Let Jake Berger hit. Josh Young's 2 for 3. Outside for a ball. This is garbage. Now we're looking at 2-0 and the pitch. And that is a strike. Mariners playing out their opponent. Texas is a better team. What are you saying, boy? TK? 2-1. And that's a strike, 2-2. This game makes me eat. Two and two for Vargas. For Josh Young. And now the pitch. And here's a ground ball right to second base. Throw to first in time. That was Leo Rivas. Texas does have a negative run differential, don't they? And yet they win their games. No, Seattle's not the better team. Bullpen's dysfunctional. That is garbage. Starting rotation's not their level. Now here's Berger. Now the pitch. And that is low for a ball. Now the 1-0. And that's going to be a ball. Looking at 2-0 for Jake Berger. And a pitch. Round ball. Right to Vargas, throw the first in time. And we go to the next inning. By the way, Aqua Sox are down just 5-3 in the bottom of the 6th. They have 2 outs and they're still hanging on, I guess. I'm going to play a commercial because this game pisses me off. We just got an order. While he makes that pizza, what's up, baseball fans and pizza lovers? In celebration of the start of the baseball season, we've got a home run of a deal for you. We're offering 50% off all menu items on Mondays and Tuesdays and 25% off bowling. Don't strike out on this amazing deal. Check out our menu in the description of this video and start ordering now. Delivery is also welcome. This offer goes through April. Tuesdays. And Mondays. Now here's Jorge Polanco up to the plate. We are back from the break. And now here is a fly ball blooper, and that will drop in for a base hit. We're at the bottom of the 8th inning, and Jorge Polanco gets on base. Now it's going to be up to big dumper Cal Raleigh, who's batting 173. 0 for 3 today. He is awful. Dylan Moore has taken over for Polanco to be a pinch runner. They're just trying to see if they can get some quick runs. Maybe Moore will steal, and that's going to be up high for a ball for Cal Raleigh. As we are looking at 1-0 for the big dumper. Throw back to first. Dylan Moore gets back in time. We're now at 1-0. And now the pitch. Now here's a fly ball to deep right field, and that is gone! The Mariners have taken the lead on a 2-run home run by Cal Raleigh. That was absolutely blasted, and it's now the Mariners 5 and the Rangers 3. Just when you thought when the game was going to extras, Cal Raleigh saves the day, for now, with a 2-run home run. That was just blasted. The big dumper delivers. Woo! Cal freaking Raleigh. But we still have another inning to go. Yep, you knew that was... Man, that hit the facade of one of the decks. Mr. Sticky, you're right. Keep it going. And Cal Raleigh has, by the way, broken the record for most catchers in Mariners history, 96. It was 95 by Mike Zunino. Number 3 is Dan Wilson, 88. And now we got Randy Arozarena up to the plate. Now the pitch, and that is going to be inside for a ball. Andres Munoz warming up in the bullpen. As we're looking at 0-1. Arozarena the pitch. And that's going to be popped up, and he really reached inside of it, try to force it. And then the catch is made by the catcher. And the catcher for today for the Texas Rangers, it is Jonah Heim. Mariners shoulder plush night for the Mariner Moose on April 26th. Too bad I won't be going to that one. Now here's Luke Raley up to the plate. Now the pitch. And now here's a broken bat to left field. And he makes the catch. Yeah, he broke Dan Wilson's record. Indeed. Not Dan Wilson. It was Mike Zunino had that record. And then, Mike Zunino broke Dan Wilson's record, which was also owned by Dave Valley back in the old days. Mariners have had a pretty good history of catchers. Don't forget Kenji Jojima back in the day, too. Miguel Olivo for 2004 and 2011. And now here's Rowdy Tellez and a big swing and a miss. Keep the torpedo bats. I don't even know if those are torpedo bats. Can't tell if those are torpedo bats. As we're looking at 0-1. Now the pitch. And that's going to be a foul ball. I guess Cal had a torpedo bat. Oh, wow. And now the pitch. So Cal Raleigh was using the torpedo bat. Mariners scored 5 runs. Do you know who has the most goals in history? NHL and W. I don't even ask me about hockey. I'm just going to say Sidney Crosby. As we're at 1-2 for Rowdy Tellez. And now the pitch. Inside for a ball, 2-2. And after this inning, I don't know who's going to be up. I guess it was a torpedo bat. Now we're at 2-2 for Rowdy Tellez. And now the pitch. Swing and a miss right at the dirt. Strike 3. And that's going to retire the side. But last try for the Texas Rangers because Cal Raleigh blasted a 2-run home run to give the Mariners a 5-3 lead. Buckle your seatbelt, cross everything you've got. We are going into the bottom of the 9th inning. We just got an order. While he makes that pizza, what's up baseball fans and pizza lovers? In celebration of the start of the baseball season, we've got a home run of a deal for you. We're offering 50% off all menu items on Mondays and Tuesdays and 25% off bowling. Don't strike out on this amazing deal. Check out our menu in the description of this video and start ordering now. Delivery is also welcome. This offer goes through April. Yep, offer goes through April. Mondays and Tuesdays only for the pizza. I see. That hurts. Oh, well. Andres Munoz going to be... Oh, Laz Montez up to the plate. Let's do this. And did he go? He did go. As we are in the bottom of the 7th inning for the Aqua Sox. And looks like we are back from the break. Andres Munoz now in the mound for the Mariners. Andres Munoz in 6 games, in 6 innings. He has 4 for 4 on save opportunities, but he's going to have to do his first against Jonah Heim. And that is a ball. And Laz Montez hit a double, and he's going to second base with a stand-up double. Now the pitch, and he's missing it for a ball. Cal Raleigh tried to frame it, but ABS would have said no. And we finally got a strike. It's now 2-1 for Jonah Heim. As we're at 2-1, now the pitch, and that is in there for a strike. 2-2. Two and two for Jonah Heim. Now here's a ground ball right to second base. He's got it. Throw to first, and he gets it off. It gets away, and now Jonah Heim is saved. That should probably be considered an error. It was good fielded by Leo Rivas, but his throwing was horrible. This is where Mariners defense is just completely lacking. And Rowdy Tellez, he just has no flexibility. This is very painful. Yeah, because we're going to get to the top of the order real soon, so we got to take care of business now as we're at the bottom of the lineup, towards the bottom of the lineup. We got Harris being the pinch hitter, but after this, you got Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, so this game is still up for grabs. Oh, that was Jorge Polanco at second base? No, it's Leo Rivas. Dustin Harris last season is the guy. And now the pitch. Ground ball foul. You know, maybe I won't do the game. I'm not sure about the... Because I just have so many clips to work with for this Mariners game. So I'm kind of unlikely at the moment. And now the pitch to Harris. Now here's a liner, and that is going to be a foul ball. Thank God. That was a close one. As we're looking at 1 and 2. They're saying bring in the noise on a 1 and 2, which you should do. Fans got to get after it. Not a good turnout for the Mariners game for a Friday night, though. It'll be better on Saturday because it's Saturday. As now we are at 1 and 2. And now the pitch. Inside for a ball. That nearly hit him. Should be 1 out by now, but we don't have anyone that can field in the infield. It's very concerning, and it's just not sustainable. As now we're at 2 and 2 for Harris. And now the pitch. And now here's a fly ball to right field and fouled again. Oh my God. And now we're at 2 and 2. And now the pitch. Inside for a ball. Full count 3 and 2. You gotta be kidding me, Munoz. Home T-Mobile Park is your place to do it. And now Munoz got what he wants. As we're looking at 3 and 2. And now the pitch. And a swing and a miss. Strike 3. And now we got 1 out. The double play is now in effect to end this game. 2 outs away. But we've got Marcus Semien up to the plate. And you know he could easily tie this game up. Here's my reaction to Marcus Semien coming up. Not looking forward to it. Nope. But it's Marcus Semien time. And now the pitch. And that is a strike. Cal Raleigh actually framed that one. And that's going to be 0-1. Come on, let's finish this. 0-1. And now the pitch. Now here's a ground ball. Could be double play ball. Go to second. And the throw to first. And it's in time for the double play. And the ball game is over. The Mariners will take game 1 of this 3-game series. And it was behind of home runs by Jorge Polanco, Rowdy Tellez, a RBI by J.P. Crawford, and a 2-run home run by the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And how sweet it is for the Mariners to finally, to at least take the first game of the series. They now go to 6 and 8, and the Rangers now go to 9 and 5. And I actually gotta go already because I gotta cut videos and I'm kind of still sick. I'm feeling a little bit better, but I just want to say thank you very much for being on this show. Go Mariners. I'll be back on Sunday. Good night. I gotta go. Peace out.